From in the beginning to the musical apocalypse, this is The Bible Says What? I'm your host, Mike Wiseman. Predestined. John 10:29, Proverbs 15:4, or 1 Peter 2:8, the Bible can be used to claim the character of Yahweh has predestined each of us. It's all part of His plan. If I was created with my end determined and planned out, if I am predestined for hell, why create me? What purpose do I serve to the Creator by being born to burn? Is there a quota for the lake of fire? Or am I supposed to be an example or a spark that pushes Christians closer to their deity? Is there an acceptable answer to these questions? Of course not. There is no way to justify these actions. Why would anyone want to worship such a monster? Let's start the show.
Is there anything in the Bible that you yourself have an issue with? Okay, so it took you reading the Bible to realize that those things were bad for you?
Yeah, it actually did. I
Couldn't
didn't
figure this out on your own?
No, Ted Bundy could be redeemed. God doesn't kill children.
What do you think the Passover was? Yahweh sets up a whole system in the Old Testament where you slaughter animals just so He's able to forgive you.
Today's special guest is Christian author David Libby. Welcome to the show, David.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be here, Michael. It's a great privilege, and thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking the time. Why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about your book?
Sure. Okay, my book kind of tells my and my family's story. We went through many years, a decade and a half or so, of very, very serious, intense suffering with serious chronic illness, and it tells our story briefly and then seeks to answer some of the deeper theological, philosophical questions around a life of suffering. It starts out with the argument posed by the atheist philosopher and naturalist Ernst Haeckel back in Charles Darwin's day, which he called the dysteleological argument. You know, we've all heard of the teleological argument, the argument from design. If the world looks so designed, it must have a designer. Well, Haeckel came along and said, well, if this world was designed by an all-good and all-powerful designer, then why are there so many mistakes, so many blunders in this world? Suboptimal design, suboptimal design, if I can get that tongue twister out, suffering, pain, evil, that sort of thing. And Haeckel was really borrowing from the 19th century philosopher David Hume, about 100 years before Haeckel, who made the same argument. So this book starts with that difficult question and then seeks to, unpack what I believe are sound answers to those hard questions.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, not to spoil the ending or anything, but what was your takeaway from that?
Well, the takeaway, first of all, I believe there are some, fairly inadequate answers floating around in Christian circles today. I believe the correct answer to the dysteleological argument is there are no mistakes in God's creation. Even things like mosquitoes and ticks that bite us and do damage to us are marvels of His creative genius. They do just what He designed them to do. We read about that in His curse in Genesis 3. God is a sovereign God. My subtitle is God's Sovereignty in the Face of Suffering. And although He's not the author of things like evil, He is displeased with, human rebellion and sin. Nevertheless, He is a sovereign God. And because of human rebellion and sin, He is, cursed His creation. And because of that curse, we have pain and suffering in this world. For example, if somebody said to Adam, Adam, don't those weeds you're pulling out of your garden prove that there is no God? That's Ernst Haeckel's teleological argument. Adam could say, well, no, of course not. God's the one who put those weeds there.
God put those weeds there lovingly.
Right. And that's another good point, Michael. Thank you for saying lovingly, because Um, Even in God's curse and even in the pain and suffering that we see in this world, we still serve a loving God.
Hmm.
So there's purpose behind, because God is a sovereign God, there's purpose behind, even the most difficult trials that we face in this life. Uh,
That
but
is,
but
yeah, that's a touchy one there. Maybe we'll get into that later because that one tends to set me off. Sorry.
okay, okay, sure, sure.
I did want to touch real quick on something there. Thank you very much. That was awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lots there to unravel and unpack.
Yeah,
Not the author
sure.
of evil was one thing that kind of stuck out right off the bat there. What do you mean by that?
Sure.
God is not the author of evil.
We can't blame God for our sin. We can't
Hmm.
blame God for the evil in this world. So, uh, God is a in Christian circles, we find people often gravitate
Hmm.
into error in one or the other, or two different directions. And by the way, we all gravitate into error somewhere, myself included. Admittedly, we all deviate from objective truth at some point. If we only knew where, we'd stop deviating. But
Hmm.
and that's why our life
Objective
is
truth.
our life is a journey of seeking after truth. But anyway, two
Hmm.
areas people often gravitate into error is either denying God's sovereignty, right? So
Okay.
uh, God is, why is there evil in this world? Well, uh, God had no control over that. You maybe you heard the stage manager analogy that was popular back, I think, in the 1920s, where he was
Hmm.
kind of a
I haven't heard that one.
deist. Okay, it's kind of a deist model of God. God is like a stage manager, and he set this grand production of world history in order, and
All right.
everything was going to be perfect, and then all of a sudden, somebody tripped and grabbed a hold of a tapestry and ripped the tapestry down, and that that tipped the candle over. The candle, set the curtains
Right.
on fire. And meanwhile, the stage manager God is running around behind all this mess, trying to put it back in order, but he has
Yeah.
no control ultimately over it. So I
Hmm.
believe that's an incorrect model. God's word teaches very clearly that He
So God
has
is in
foreordained.
control.
He is in control.
Hmm.
Correct. Daniel 4:35. He does according to His will among
Yeah.
the inhabitants of the earth. In the army of
Oh,
heaven, no one can restrain his hand or say to him, "What have you done?" And many other texts can be cited. So then you've
yeah.
got
All the
then you've
peoples
got
of earth are regarded as nothing. He does as he pleases with the powers of heaven and the peoples of earth. I think that was that
Amen, brother.
Daniel 4:35. Yeah. But why
Yeah,
is that? I don't see that right there. He does as he pleases. And then
yep.
we'll get back to that. Sorry, we're still on the whole. He doesn't create the evil thing, or doesn't. Not the
Oh,
author of evil. Sorry, not the author of evil.
sure,
So
right. So I think the
he,
other error that people could gravitate into would be that uh, that God actually is the author of evil. That He,
hmm.
uh,
Well, he says so.
you know,
Isaiah. He says that he creates evil or calamity or destruction. And then we see him several times in the Old Testament, or again at the end of the world, creating destruction, calamity. Um, I mean, do you think that?
yes, absolutely. Just I would say right in answer to that, I would say that creating destruction or calamity is different than being the author of the sin, which gives him the occasion for the destruction and the calamity. So,
Hold on,
uh,
let's top of that. Hold on, wait there. Say that again.
sure, uh, uh, to be the one who brings the calamity
Hmm.
and brings the destruction is different than being the one who is the the author of the sin that is the reason for the destruction of the calamity. So,
So the
why
author,
does God bring?
so you got the guy who did something wrong, and then
Yep,
you've got the God who has set up the punishment as a hurricane, let's say, or a
sure,
landslide or something shenanigans, something like that. So God's
absolutely,
punishment for the whatever this guy did is
yep,
that. So and we have to accept that as a good
yes, in a
punishment, and
sense.
because it's sovereign, he's sovereign no matter what punishment he dishes out is
Sure, when God pours out His judgment, whether temporal or eternal, against the wicked, that is a good thing,
it's a
right?
good thing.
It's a
Interesting.
good thing, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say. Everything that God does is good. God is good.
Everything he does is good.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah. Now, David, we can nitpick a bunch of things, but I mean, we've read the Bible,
Sure.
right? David, you've read the
Yeah,
Bible. All right. So
absolutely. Many times.
everything he does is good. Is there anything you can pick out in there that you would see as maybe questionable?
There are things that um that we humans would see as questionable, and
Yes, yeah.
me being a
That's
sinful
you. I'm
human.
asking David the human. Yes.
Yeah. Ask David the human. Sure. David the human answers in my humanity. And actually, we can get back to a previous question in a minute here, if you like.
Yeah.
This does relate. The previous question I'd like to get back to is, what is the, I forget how you worded it, but
Me too. I should have
what's
written in.
what's the ultimate answer to the problem of suffering and the teleological
Just
argument and all that.
teleological. We'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
But anyway, so David the human, with that stored in the back of our minds, that question still needs, some more probing.
Circled it
Um,
for you.
yeah, but David the human might look at like the siege of Jerusalem and say, man, and the guys were eating their own kids and eating their own excrement, and was it
Yeah.
really, were they really that bad for God to pour out that kind of judgment upon them?
Yeah.
Or like Noah's flood, I mean, yeah, man, were they really that bad? So the
That's a
correct
tough one.
answer is, yeah, they really were that bad.
Yeah.
Or what about the Canaanite invasion, the Canaanite conquest, where
Mm-hmm.
God's people were ordered to slaughter every man, woman, and child, and the
Even the donkeys.
David the and exactly, precisely right.
The
So
evil donkeys. Were they
David,
evil? Were they evil asses, David?
yeah, well, they were,
I couldn't
they
resist.
were, I guess they were asses that belonged to evil asses. But
Oh
anyway,
God.
uh, but by the
So
way,
yeah, those are
this is just,
those are some tough things to tackle for sure. And how does
yeah,
David the human tackle those? I mean, as a let's go to the flood, for instance. We've got every puppy, kitten, baby, infant, nursing baby, fetus that got aborted through floodwaters. You got all that.
sure,
And
yeah,
how bad could the people have been to for God to have to feel that he has to drown every puppy and kitten alongside every baby and evil person? Like, what would have been so
yeah.
bad for
Okay, so there's
that to
a
have
couple
to
different
happen with
questions
it?
there. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there are a couple different questions there, and I would say that the second of your two questions, uh, how bad would they have to be, is the answer to that is an answer that you or I are not really qualified to answer.
As
Only
David the
God
human,
is.
though. Yeah, as David the human. We're just thinking as humans here, logically of these situations and this
Yep,
character
yep,
and what we're thinking of it. Yeah. So,
sure. So
yeah.
David the human says, well, uh, they were bad. They were
Hmm.
idolaters. The Nephilim were on the earth. Whether that was, uh, spirit, human, uh, inbreeding, or whether it was the ungodly line of Cain, or however you
Hmm.
take that. There were,
Yeah.
mighty men on the earth who were in total rebellion against God.
Big lava
Uh,
monsters. That's where I see them. I don't know.
yeah, whatever, whatever. But total rebellion against God. Every inclination of the heart of man was only evil continually. Uh, so, uh, yeah, they were that bad, and because God is a just God, and
Hmm.
since God is,
Just,
perfectly
yeah.
righteous, perfectly holy, therefore, whatever judgment he metes out is just.
Whew.
So were
Yeah.
they? So here's another question: Were they really all that much worse than we are today? And I don't know. I wasn't alive then, but I think that every inclination of the human heart today is evil as well, apart from the regeneration of the Holy Spirit.
So
Um,
we were so, thank you, David. We were so bad that the animals had to die. We were so bad that the children had to die. They couldn't be raised in a utopia somewhere to learn kumbaya and all that. I don't know. I mean, why did all of those other things have to die along with it? How is that considered just by David the human? I mean, how can we logically think of that as a just sovereign action?
sure. So David the human, uh, we can get back to that, former question as well, previous question
Hmm.
about the I guess what I call the end of the line answer to the the teleological argument, and problem of
Hmm.
suffering and evil and all that. But David the human recognizes that he is uh, ultimately incompetent to answer these kinds of questions, and has
Hmm.
to has to appeal to a higher competency. That would be the competency of God. So what did God tell Job in the end of the book of Job? Uh,
Essentially, don't
he
ask me questions. I'm better than you. I mean, I created the universe. Why puny ant? Shoo, here, let me kill your
well,
kids, but you could have new ones.
that's that's kind of how he put it, but that was sort
Yeah.
of, but not really. That's not quite the way he put it. What he
Yeah.
said essentially was I'm God and you're not.
So is that where
So
David the human just settles in? I mean, we can understand in our human logic and our empathy, common sense there that this is a not so great thing or idea. I mean, we as humans see this as bad. If somebody did such a thing, we would lock them up for a very long time. If somebody was planning out something such horrific as this, we would lock them up and put them away. But when God does it, we give him a pass because he's sovereign. But he does these things that are not seen as sovereign, as kind of monstrous. I mean, we can both agree drowning children is monstrous. So, I mean, was there some kind of, we can go back to the circle round of the suffering. Was there some kind of suffering that was going to take place in the future? I mean, what would be a sufficient answer for David the human in that situation if we were to talk to God? If we were to talk to God tonight and God says, ask me anything you want, and you ask him about the flood, what would be a sufficient answer for drowning everybody?
uh, I believe a sufficient answer would start with me actually coming face to face with God. And I'm assuming this
Well, you
question
do it
and
through
answer
prayer, right? It works that way.
exchange.
You pray to him and he answers you, right? And that's the way it
Yes,
works for
but
most Christians there.
sure, but the relationship that we have with God now is kind of a long distance relationship in a sense.
Huh.
I've never seen him face to face.
I've
It's,
never
it's
heard it
like a
called that one. That's a good one.
well, I think that's a fairly accurate depiction. Now,
Very accurate.
a long distance relationship is not necessarily a cold or uh, non intimate relationship. Picture a
Hmm.
husband and wife corresponding via snail mail in the 1940s when the husband's over in World War II, for
But
example.
but David, when the husband and wife are corresponding through snail mail, they each receive letters.
Right.
When you're corresponding with your long distance relationship, it's kind of a one-way street. You send all the letters to God, and God doesn't really, you know, show up an answer. I mean, he doesn't really send you another letter in the mailbox. I mean, it's nothing
No,
physical
I
that you
don't.
can do. It's a little bit different there.
No, I don't agree. Actually, I think that it is a two-way exchange.
Has God sent you a letter
Yes, yes, I've got the 66
besides the
books of the
Bible?
Bible. Yeah, which
David, that's cheating.
no, I don't believe it is cheating at all.
Oh
Um,
man, has he sent you one
but
recently? Is it like, can
but
you correspond with him? No, of course we can't. We can't. We know we can't. But go ahead. Sorry,
well,
David.
I believe there is also a subjective relationship. But I want to get back to
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
want to get back to your former. I'm trying to think what the question was a minute ago that I hadn't completed the answer to. What was that?
What was it? What made it so bad? Oh yeah, we were going to talk to
No, no,
God. We were
okay.
going to talk to God and ask him.
If I were face to face with God and uh, uh,
He let you answer a
um,
question. Ask a question.
yeah, he let me answer. Right, he would answer a question about the flood. I think he brought up the flood. Why did
Hmm.
he drown
Why
puppy
would he
dogs
have
and
to drown the puppies and the kittens alongside the evil humans? Why did the animals have to die? Why did the nursing infants have to die? Why? It doesn't make any sense.
well, I think what I was starting to say in my answer was the first thing. I'm assuming this question answer exchange with God would be,
Hmm.
uh, less of a long distance relationship or
Yeah.
less of a long distance exchange. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't
Like
that
you can get an answer back, like we're talking back and forth here. Let's say you have a Zoom call with God, and let's go there. And you can ask him that
gotcha?
question. What would be a
Okay,
sufficient answer for David the human?
just like you and I are talking right now. So it would be like I'm looking at my phone and I'm seeing God, and
Right.
he's looking at his seeing me. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He's much prettier
So
than I am, though. Shiny.
well, do they really get prettier than you? Is
Thanks, Dave.
that possible? Uh, so I think the first thing that that I or anybody would be struck with is that God is not what we expected. God is holier than we could imagine. Uh, that His standard for righteousness is more than we could begin to fathom.
Yeah.
And
It's a
uh,
bit lopsided there as far as I Sorry, I see there. But what would his answer be? What would be an answer that would be sufficient to David the human? Well, if God said an answer to that question, what would be sufficient?
So the question is, why did you drown everybody in a flood? A sufficient answer for me would
No,
be
the animals. Why did you drown the animals along with the evil humans? Why did you drown the babies and the nursing infants and the fetuses along with the evil humans? Why the innocent? Why did the innocent have to die in the flood? There you go. That's a better way to word it.
well, I guess the only, according to what I read in scripture, the only innocents would be the animals.
So why did the animals have to die?
Yes.
Why did he have to drown all the animals? Do all dogs go to heaven, David?
Uh, I have no earthly idea whether dogs go to heaven or not, but I don't see why that would be a moral breach in any way. Honestly,
You don't think drowning puppies is a moral breach?
not no, not no, no, not if God is the one who's doing it. He
David,
owns.
we're David the human thinking. David the human logically, this is a different character. This is
David the human recognizes logically that God owns these puppies and he has the right to do as he pleases with them. And
there it is. There it is. So if I was breeding dogs and I had a group of puppies that were all just ugly, and I said, I can't sell these. Nobody will want these ugly dogs. So I drowned them. Those are my dogs. Is there a difference?
not in the same way they're not, ultimately.
So God owns us in a, how does God own us specifically?
He's the creator, he's the sovereign all conditioner. As
So why does that make him own us though? Like that's what I think I'm missing the point there. Is so God created us, but why does he own us now that he has created us? Why does he own something he creates?
uh
Who
where
set
would
that
you
rule?
expect well, God set that rule.
There it is. There it is. There it is. So God
Sure.
set that rule. So God wanted to own people. For what
Yeah,
purpose?
I mean, why would he not own people that he created? I mean,
I
if
don't
you
really want to own people, David. It's a weird concept.
no,
It's a
okay,
barbaric.
yeah, but that entirely misses the point.
What's the
uh,
point?
um, I didn't ask whether or not you would want to own people. I asked why would he not?
No,
You know,
why would he
you're not
want
God.
to though? Yeah, I mean, what good reason would he have? Again, we're at that good reason. What good reason could David the human come up with to make that sound good?
uh he's God and I'm not.
He's God and I'm not.
um
But there's
you know, he's the you
that's so
know
it's
God's
a
word. God's word uses the word picture often of the potter and the clay. Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar with that, but I kind of want to go back to that ownership thing a little bit because that's the
Okay. Well, but this
kind of
relates to that ownership thing.
perturbing.
But
Okay,
go
okay,
ahead.
go ahead. Well, yeah, he can form us and all that shenanigans. But
Sure.
again, so why does he want people? Why did he create people? Why this ownership, awesome sovereignness? Why all this? Why all? He's sitting in eternity. He's an eternal God, and he just one day decides what?
I I would have to know the mind of God to answer that, I suppose. But
We
I
do.
think
It's the
I think
Bible, David. Yes. I'm so glad you
an
asked, David. Do you have your Bible with you? Let
I
me grab
do.
my thing here.
Well,
All
no,
right.
it's downstairs actually, but I could.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we all have uh, uh, the mind of God here. So crap. What was the question again? Now that
I don't know. I
I
don't
forget.
remember.
Oh, this is terrible. The mind of God. Oh, this is terrible.
Why would I think you asked why God would want to own people, or
There it is. There it is.
we're talking about the potter and the clay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. See, now I'm just off on totally different tangent here. This is terrible. I apologize. This usually
Oh
happens
no, no.
at least once
Oh
a
no.
podcast, so
Oh no problem. Yeah. No, it's fine. Tangents are fine.
it'll come back to me, and I'll be all excited. And I'll have to
Okay.
write it down because
Okay.
I'll forget. But let's go back to what was that question you wanted to go back to? The distant logical.
No, I've already gotten there. The end of the line answer is what we find in the end of the book of Job.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that is the end of line answer. Okay. Gotcha.
correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So we've
All right.
already returned to that. And
We did. We did. That's right. So I kind
yeah.
of want to go back to let's start with the light of the gospel. You mentioned in one of your uh, notes on your page there that you
Okay.
enjoy sharing the light of the gospel.
Correct.
Curious as to what that is.
Well, the gospel is the good news that
Not that,
rebellious
the light of the
sinners.
gospel. I know what the gospel is.
What's that?
What is the light of the gospel? I know what the gospel is, but what is the light of the gospel?
The light of the gospel, I would say, is the gospel. It's the Isaiah 9 verses 2, 3, liken the Lord Jesus to the light that came into darkness. The Lord Jesus told us to uh, let the light shine. The light that He's telling us to let shine is an analogy for the gospel. The gospel message.
So the message
So
itself is the light, or Jesus is the
yeah,
light, or
yeah, yep,
okay.
yep.
So Jesus is the message.
He is described as the light of the world, right?
Gotcha,
Uh,
gotcha.
we're told that uh, the world's a dark place. I believe that is true. I believe that anyone who's suffered, as my family has come to learn that experientially.
Hmm.
This world is a dark place,
Hmm.
um, and I believe that the true light, the true answer to that darkness, is to be found in the Lord Jesus and in His gospel message.
Why? Why do you think that? What light do you think we're finding in there?
We're finding the light that uh, the just punishment of God, which we deserve, um, the which the flood would be a very small, inadequate picture of, is
Huh.
something that we can escape because that penalty has been paid for us by the God who, the same God as a God who is a God of justice is also a God of grace and mercy. I find
So
that to be a very
the guy that made the trap gave us an escape, and now he's the merciful guy.
um, I don't understand why you would consider it a trap. I don't quite get that.
Hell is kind of a trap. You're kind of stuck in there. I mean, there's a sin. We're all born sinful, right? We're all deserving. I mean, we're worms. We're worthless worms. That kind of thing. So to God, I mean, in God's eyes, I think we're all awesome. David, I think you're awesome, regardless of what your God thinks. Uh, but
Uh,
so
well,
we're
that's
all
not quite an
deserving of
accurate picture.
hellfire. Sorry, what?
Yeah, that's not quite an accurate picture. The Bible teaches that we're made in God's image. We're human beings made in His image.
Mhm.
Not worms. But
Worthless
as
sinners. I mean, are we worthless sinners? Are we sinners? Are we seen as despicable in the eyes of God because of our sin?
we are seen as condemned in the eyes of God because of our sin. Now,
He doesn't like
I
us.
guess that
We're not friends. I mean, we're not in his clique. We're not part of the group. We're not on his Facebook page. Is that the problem?
I don't think God would have a Facebook page, but anyway,
I think I've seen it. I don't know.
I think I think Facebook is pretty detestable in my opinion. But anyway,
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of it. But anyway,
yeah,
uh,
it's a thing. But Revelation 3:16. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth.
sure, yeah.
And he's going to spit us out to where?
Well, the Revelation 3:19, that's written to one of the churches, and
16.
so 16, right? Yeah, excuse me. Uh, but anyway, the spitting out of his mouth, I would say that's a rejection of churches which are not truly
Hmm.
following him, which we see a lot of today, I believe.
And how? Oh man, that's a whole nother dive. How are churches really not following him? I'll write that down so I don't forget that one. But we'll go back to the spitting out part here. Um,
Okay.
so these churches that aren't following him correctly or doing the right things, they get spit out to hell, essentially, right? I mean, they're not. I mean, God's spitting them out. I mean, he's not spitting them out to heaven or a lower section of heaven. I mean, he's
Right.
obviously going to be spitting them out to hell, right?
If a person is condemned, that person is condemned to hell. Correct. Yes.
Condemned to hell. Condemned to
Right. Right.
that's um so when we are born, does God already see us as condemned?
Um, I would say probably so. Yeah. Yeah, I believe in the doctrine of original sin. As difficult as that is to, you know, people to for the human to grapple with.
So he creates these. Let's say there's someone like me. He hasn't shown up for me. He's not here. He doesn't say hi. He doesn't never shows up to one of my birthday parties. He just he's I don't think he's there. So I base him on the scale of characters as, Darth Vader, who kills a bunch of kids, Yahweh kills a bunch of kids. They're both child killers, documented child killers. That's kind of where I put them at. But as far as the condemned thing, I don't believe, and he doesn't show up to have me believe, to make me believe, or give me a choice, or soften my heart, as some say. So what do you think for me? And others like me, there's plenty of people like me, and they'll just go to their whole grave and die, and God will never show up for them. And we go to hell. So we were born condemned. God knew when he created us that we were going to be condemned. He knows everything. I mean, Job, what do you mean? Who are you talking to, man? So yeah, God knows everything. So when he created people like me that are destined for hell because he's not going to show up and say anything, which he knows what it would take. He knows exactly what it would take for me to believe. What about that? Do you think that's just? Do you think that's a fair thing? And sorry, that was not the real question. The real question is, does God know what's going to happen to predestined? Are we predestined for hell? And God created us that way, knowing where we're going. Sorry, long-winded question.
That is a long-winded question, yeah. But I think I'm following it. Can you abbreviate it a little bit? Could you?
Does God know when he created people like me that we're going to go die in hell when he created us? Did he know that when he created us? Did he know our life's journey?
Yeah, I would say that he would have to, yeah.
So he knows he's going to create a bunch of people that he's going to put in hell.
Yes.
So he's creating people to fill hell. He doesn't have to. But why would he?
I don't know. So creating people to fill hell, I guess I feel a little uncomfortable with that concept, but
I can't think of another purpose. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of reasons, but I mean, like, that's just the one that came off the top of my head, to fill hell, to fill a quota of some sort, But he created hell. So not only did he create these people to go there, but he created this place for them to go. He set forth this entire plan to send a bunch of people to hell, a place he created. And then to stop the ones that he doesn't want to go there, he sent his son or himself to die so that they wouldn't go there. I don't understand that, or that whole thing baffles me.
Okay.
But it just doesn't make any sense to why. Why would he create these certain people just to go to hell? Why would he create hell just so he can put certain people in there? Are we that evil? Am I that evil that I deserve this hellfire forever just because I don't believe in him and he doesn't show up to my birthday parties?
Well, it would seem to me that you have a lot more than a lack of belief, a lot more than a disbelief, but I'm sensing kind of a, if I could say it, kind of an arrogant.
It's an annoyance.
Disdain.
It's an annoyance.
Well, no, kind of a disdain for God, a disdain for the plan of God, and so forth. And
if his plan is to send people to hell, I have disdain for that as Mike the Human.
Sure.
And then if his plan is to drown a bunch of puppies, kittens, and babies, Mike the Human says that's a bad plan. And I'm going to have disdain for that. And as David the Human should as well, I hope. Right?
Well, David the Human understands that there is a God who knows better than he does. I'm not.
Again, we're right back to that same thing. I can't come up with a good answer. Is there ever a good answer to drown puppies, kittens, and babies? And there's nothing sufficient enough to find a good reason to do that. There's no good reason. Nothing would satisfy that answer for me, as far as I can think. Unless they're all rabid and they were zombies. That's it. They were zombies, and he had to drown them. Done. There's a reason.
I'm wondering how you would define a good reason, and what is this an objective good or is it a subjective good? Is it just a matter of opinion?
It's all subjective. All subjective. Do less harm, David. That's where I stand. And if we can take an outcome and do less harm to get that outcome, crap, yeah, let's do that.
But why? But you just said it's subjective, but you're presenting an objective ethic. You're saying that it's objectively right to do less harm, right?
I don't know. I think morals are subjective. I'm still working
Okay,
through all that. But as far as
then what's wrong with me? And I'm not saying that doing more harm is actually better. It's actually a higher virtue. The more harm we do,
right,
the
well,
better.
in my subjective view of morality that I think is good, that would be bad.
But why? Why does your subjective view of morality trump mine or God's or anybody else's?
Well, God doesn't have a view, and his morality is drowning puppies and kittens. I can't get behind that. So that's not
But
really
why?
a good moral. So God is
No,
your
no, no,
moral standard,
no. But
but
hold
he's
on.
the guy that drowns puppies and kittens.
No, but you just said that morality is subjective, and
Yes.
now you're saying that no, that's bad for him to do that. He can't do
Yes,
that.
'cause
He
my
can't.
morality, my subjective idea of what is good and bad says that drowning them is bad. That's and burning them forever. I think that's bad too, just so we clear that up.
Sure. Okay, but why is your subjective morality
Hmm.
better? Why does it trump, somebody else's subjective morality?
Oh, I'm
You know,
I'm
why,
gonna, I'm gonna do this. It's a very simple test. Hey, David, can I stab you through the hand?
uh, not with my
Why
permission,
not?
no. But
Why not?
I don't believe in subjective morality.
But why not? Why
But
can't I stab you in the hand, David?
uh, I would probably stab you back if I could reach. But since we're doing
Well,
this over
why
Zoom,
would it be a bad thing to stab you in the hand?
but see, that's my question for you. So you're actually avoiding my question. See,
It's very
I,
easy, David.
I don't.
I'm doing this to as an example of my answer. David, would you want
Okay,
me to
go
stab
ahead.
you in the hand?
No, of course not,
No, of course not. Why not?
because it would cause pain. I don't like it.
And it would do harm.
Right.
Did you
But
need God
why?
to figure that out?
No, hold on a second.
Nah, you did not.
No, no, you're actually avoiding my question.
I just answered
I
it.
appreciate.
It's
No, you
less
didn't.
harm. Go ahead, answer it. Ask it again. Let's make sure I get it right. I want to make sure I get it.
No, my question is, why is why is it that you get to set this objective ethic
Hmm.
that doing less harm is objectively
Because it's
right?
subjective. I don't say it's objectively. It's subjective.
Okay,
Some people think that it's whatever it is, but as far as my worldview goes, I don't think it's an objective thing. It's a whole morality comes from us. We make it. We built it. It's just like we give life purpose, but that's a whole other thing. Don't get me started. My mind
great.
will go there and I'll lose it. I'll lose track. Crap. Where were we already?
Well,
See? That's what happens.
well, great. But I don't know if you,
Morality. The morality. Yeah.
but I don't know if you realize, but you just defeated your own position because
What?
uh, yeah, you're positing this uh, subjective ethic where doing
Hmm.
harm is bad and
Yes.
doing uh, less harm or not doing
Yes.
harm is good.
Yes.
Uh, right.
So
But
we can
but
see
what
that
gives you
that's a thing, though. In society, doing less harm benefits benefits the masses, benefits society, benefits people. The less harm we do, the less we steal from each other, the less we stab each other in the hand, or poke out each other's eyeballs, or burn each other's goats. The less we do of these things, the better off society is. I mean, it's not rocket science. I don't need a God to tell me those things. Love my neighbor. Yeah, of course. No shit. I mean, a lot of people came up with that way before Jesus did. That's just a process of elimination here. That's where we're at. So it's do less harm. That's my idea. You know what? That's a lot of other people's ideas too. David, I think it's your idea as well because of your whole you don't want to be stabbed in the hand thing. Really weird.
well, yes, in a sense it is. But see, I believe in an objective ethic. I
Where does
believe in
this
an is
objective ethic come from?
well. That's
And can we
I
look
have a
at this objective ethic and go, hey, that person is an example of what to be and what to do? Can we do that?
yeah, of course we can. And
David,
and as for where the subjective ethic comes from, where would you uh, what preconditions would you think are necessary to come up with an objective ethic? How do you define an objective ethic?
well, if my objective ethic came from a guy that wants to torture and burn people forever or drown children, I would second guess his ethics first off, right off the bat. Mike the human, just cards on the table. So,
Okay,
I don't know. Objective ethic. Again, I'm still working through that. But my subjective ethic, as far as I'm concerned, comes from my society, my experience, my empathy, my common sense, all of those things put together. And the objective of doing no harm makes my morality. That's where I'm at right now. It might change
okay,
tomorrow. I might have a better concept of it or whatever next week. I don't know. But tonight, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah. Was that a good answer? Was that good enough?
Well,
did that suffice to David the human?
No, it did not. But I don't want to keep going round and round. You know, you're still seeming to miss the fact that you're positing an objective ethic and claiming that it's
Whose
subjective.
objective ethic am I positing?
You're saying that it's wrong to do harm. Okay?
I'm saying, in my opinion, it's wrong to do harm, and I'm saying we can also test that theory, and it seems to be wrong all across the board there to do harm. It's not beneficial. And that's how, there it is. Beneficial versus not beneficial. That's how I'm doing.
I don't think, well, I don't think guys like Adolf Hitler would have agreed with that. You know, he thought it was very beneficial to eliminate 12 million people, 6 million
God
of them.
thinks it's beneficial to eliminate atheists. He thinks it's beneficial to wipe out puppies, kittens, and babies and kill children in their sleep during the Passover. He thinks that's beneficial.
Okay,
okay. I don't think those are beneficial things.
Sure, but again, you're kind of avoiding the point that I'm making. That is that not everybody agrees with your standard.
Of course. No, not everybody agrees with it. And we've got psycho killers out there. That's why the psycho killers exist. Psycho killer.
Sure.
Sorry.
Right, but a minute ago you said that across the board people agree with this, and I don't think that's true. But
let's just say a lot of other people. Let's just say a lot of other people do. Not everybody. Not the majority.
Sure.
We could even just go with some. I mean, wordplay. I don't care. We can go with that.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, I want to know where your morality comes from. And if we can look to your source of morality as an object of, it's like the parent thing. Do as I say, not as I do. And that's how I see it. Don't do what God does, but he's a great source of morality. But how can he be a great source of morality if we're not supposed to do the things that he does?
Well, I believe we are supposed to do the things that he does. And, as far as, the, killing of, millions of people in the flood, or thousands, how many there were.
Innocent.
What's that?
Killing of the innocents. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe there was any killing of innocents. So
puppies are innocent. Were the puppies innocent? We can agree on that.
I don't believe the puppies are moral beings to begin with.
Oh.
We're
that's
dealing
sad,
with amoral.
Do you have a puppy? You need a puppy.
I've got a grown dog who once was a puppy.
Oh, there you go.
But no, I don't believe that puppies or trees.
You don't think that dog has morals? You don't think that dog loves you, cares about you, wants the best for you?
I don't believe that dogs are moral creatures. No, I don't.
Will that dog sacrifice his life for you?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Would that be seen as a moral thing?
No, not in the same sense. No, certainly not.
Interesting. We go there later. Anyways, so destined for hell, that's okay. People in their sleep, that's okay. Jesus, that's okay. I kind of want to do that a little bit there. Jesus, let's go there. Jesus.
Okay.
Is that that's your guy, right? I call him the guru. He's a guru. He's kind of like a guru type person. So would you say he's your guru, your guy to go to for answers?
I don't typically use the word guru, but I guess he would be somebody to go to for answers for sure.
Gotcha. So why did God create Jesus? Or that's a deep dive right there. Well, how's that work for you? Is there Jesus God? Is it one thing, or how's that work?
Yeah, I do not believe that God created Jesus. John 1 makes very clear in the prologue that he was God. He is God, and elsewhere we find the same thing. So what we have in Jesus, what we call the incarnation, you're familiar with that, no doubt. You seem fairly well studied.
But how does that work? God didn't create Jesus.
No.
God is Jesus. So how did he get to Earth if he didn't create him?
The divine took on human flesh, became a human, was born.
Like a piece of him, or was like God still in heaven? Like, this is baffling to me. I got to know. How does that work?
Well, I believe you're confusing categories, honestly. God is
probably
a spiritual. God is ultimately a spiritual being, not physical. He took on a physical form in the Lord Jesus.
It's like a mist, like a fog, so you can like.
No, you're
I think
spirits. Yeah, I believe there was a spiritual realm for sure.
How does the spirit look when it moves? Is it like ghosty? Is it like misty? Like, how does
Well,
God look?
again, you're confusing categories. Looking is a physiological category, a naturalistic category. I'm talking with
So you
a
can't see
philosophical
spiritual
naturalist.
stuff.
No, not unless God were to manifest in some way that we could see him.
Okay, so if God were to manifest in some way, what would it look like?
I don't know. I've never seen him.
Well, all right, that got nowhere. That's okay. That was fun.
Yeah,
Thanks, David.
yeah.
So as far as Jesus goes, he didn't create him. He sent himself down to stop himself from punishing people. So do you think there was an easier
No.
way or different way,
He
or
didn't.
how does that work for you? Yeah, how does that work for you?
The Lord Jesus, it tells us in Revelation 19, is going to come back and preside over the biggest slaughter the world has ever seen.
Yeah,
So he didn't come to stop the punishment of people. He is the one who will be doing the punishing.
yeah. See, and his angel army, they're going to be very, very mad at me for not loving him. Very
Yeah.
mad.
Yep.
It's a just anger because I don't love him.
Yeah, I
Now he's going
believe
to send
so.
his son to punish me.
Right.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
he also came to satisfy the just requirement of God's law for the sake of those who do believe.
To satisfy his bloodlust. Hebrews 9:22, without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. But I mean, he does. We see it in several places. He actually does forgive without blood. He is capable of it. He doesn't refuse to do it all the
Give
time.
me an example.
Oh, yeah. Give me 2 seconds to look at my forgiveness here.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, he has definitely done it a couple of times. There it is. Jesus forgives a paralyzed man in Matthew 9:2, Luke 5:20, and Mark 2:5. It's the same story, just three different ways.
So
Jesus forgives a. I'm sorry, yeah.
so what makes you think that forgiveness came without the shedding of blood?
Because he just said he forgives him of his sin. He didn't shed any blood. He didn't prick his finger and or anything. He just kind of
No,
forgiveness.
correct. But the Bible also makes very clear that no forgiveness is possible without the shedding of His blood. The
Yeah, he
animal
hadn't shed it
sacrifice,
yet.
that doesn't matter.
Okay.
The shedding of His blood actually paid for the sins of anybody in the past as well as the future. So it doesn't matter that He hadn't shed it yet.
Oh,
It's
the
still
time traveling,
no,
blood.
no, no, no,
It
no,
goes
no,
back
no,
and
no time,
forgives
no time
them.
traveling.
Oh.
No, it's kind of a ridiculous argument, honestly. Uh, but uh,
So he was forgiven here, but he wasn't forgiven yet because the blood hadn't gotten there yet because he hadn't
no,
shed his
no,
blood yet. So it's a future event. I'm confused. Help me understand, David.
yeah, no. The future shedding of the blood,
Uh-huh.
covered the sins of people
It
who were
hadn't
forgiven
got
in the
at
past as
this
well.
point in time. It hadn't happened though.
That doesn't matter. I have
So it went
bought things.
back
I
in
I, I
time.
bought a house and owned it and lived in it without having paid for it yet. The payment comes eventually. So
This is
the Bible makes clear that payment covers
oh,
the
I
sins
see.
of.
It's a credit. So he put this
Yeah,
guy's. There it
sure.
is. Okay,
You can look
gotcha.
at it that way. Sure,
Gotcha. Okay,
sure.
that's fun. That's fun. So that's in there. Let's go places like that. In what is it? Isaiah 6:6. God atoned Isaiah's sin with a hot coal.
Uh, I don't think that's quite a correct understanding of Isaiah 6:6.
Hmm.
The coal is a symbol, just like the animal sacrifices in the Old Testament. They were symbols. They didn't atone for any sin. Hebrews tells us that very clearly.
Hmm.
Uh, so the atonement comes in the blood of Christ and blood of Christ only. Uh, Isaiah 6:6, we have a vision. Isaiah is not physically present in the courts of heaven.
Right. So it's just a vision, so that doesn't count. I'm very curious now. I gotta look it up.
Sure, look it up.
Uh, there it is. Isaiah 6:6. No. Sorry, I'm gonna hold music there. All right. 6:6. And let's start off. It's Isaiah's commission in the year of blah blah blah. Above him, I saw the Lord seated on a throne, high and exalted. Okay, so he's having a vision, or he's actually seeing this. See, now I have to go
Well,
back. In the year of the I saw the Lord. Well, regardless, let's go to 6. The one of the seraphs flew to me with a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from the altar. So does that mean there was a blood sacrifice there was blood on the coal? Is that what it was?
No, you're
No.
misunderstanding the same point from earlier,
With
honestly.
it, he touched my mouth and said, "See, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away and your sin is atoned for." So when the coal touched his lips, his sin was atoned for.
Yeah, right. But God's word tells us clearly that no sin is atoned for other than the blood of the blood of Christ.
This didn't have the blood of Christ on it. It had maybe
No,
the blood of a goat, maybe.
no, it was a symbol. Same thing we find in Zechariah 3. It's a symbol of the one atonement that does actually pay for sin.
So the coal is a symbol for Jesus' blood.
Yeah, a symbol for the purging.
How?
I'm not sure what you mean by how.
How do you get from coal to Jesus' blood?
Because what we have in Isaiah 6 is the like a kind of a purging. That purging, taken by itself in Isaiah 6, we would have no way of knowing that has anything to do with the blood of Christ. But we read the rest of Scripture. We read on.
You have to read Harry Potter 5 to figure out it's a blood sacrifice. But what we're talking about is this with the future Chronicles of Narnia. So as far as the coal, though, how does that symbolize the blood of Jesus?
The coal symbolizes the purging from sin, which is found only in the blood of Christ. Scripture tells us.
That doesn't say that anywhere. You have to add that to it, though, David.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say that. But if you read on in the rest of the Scripture, we find that that's the only atonement that's made that actually pays for sin.
Except for this one, it says when he touched the coals.
No, this is a symbol.
But it doesn't say it's a symbol, David.
If you read,
is there an asterisk that says, "Oh, by the way, this is Jesus' blood"?
No. If you read the rest of Scripture, that becomes very clear.
Nowhere in the Bible I can recall it references Jesus' blood as coal. So there's no thing at the end. There's no whatever legend. There's no legend over there telling me these symbols mean Jesus. Oh, by the way, the coal meant Jesus this entire time, or the snake, it meant the serpent this entire time. There's not that. So that's a tough one. That's a tough. Maybe if coal meant Jesus' blood in the original Hebrew or something, or we just mix the words up. I'm having a hard time with that one, David. That's a tough one.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not having a hard time with it at all.
It seems rather obvious to me. Oh man! All right. Well, I appreciate it, David. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
Did you have any?
Been a blast.
Yeah, totally, man. Did you have any closing words?
No, nothing I can think of. Been a blast for me too. Yeah, thank you, Michael. I appreciate the opportunity. And no, I can't think of any closing words.
Yeah. Anything you want to say at the end there, and then of course plug your stuff. Where can we find you?
You can find me. Well, I'm a little tough to find because I'm a little bit of an anachronistic sort. I don't do Facebook or social media or anything like that. But if anybody wants a copy of my book, it can be found on Amazon. If you look up my name, David Libby, name of the book, A Different World, then you can find the book on Amazon fairly easily. I can't give you a link. I'm not,
You're fine.
Links are out there, but I'm a computer imbecile. So, but links are out there. But if you look up my name and the name of the book, it's fairly easy to find. So I guess the only plug I could give, but beyond that, I'm difficult to find. My email address, if anyone wanted to email me, is davidlibby87@gmail.com, and my phone number is area code.
Oh, jeez, no, don't do it, David. Don't.
Do you want it? Oh, I don't mind, honestly.
If you're up for it, man, 100%. I don't know what'll happen. All 10 listeners are going to call you. I don't know.
Well, that's fine. I'm happy to talk to you 10 listeners, or 10,000 if that be the case. But 207-323-8651. So other than that, I'm probably kind of tough to find. I don't do Facebook or any of those other Twitter.
Easy to find now, David. Easy to find now.
Yep. Well, happy to be easy to find, as easy as possible. But yeah, thank you, Michael.
Man. No, absolutely. You've been a blast. I appreciate your time. Stay safe out there, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah. You too. And we'll talk to you again, maybe. So many blessings. Have a good night. Have a good night. Excuse me.
That's all the show there is for you today. Thanks for listening. As always, you can find all things BSW related on the show's website at thebiblesayswhat.com. If you like what you heard and want to help keep the recording light on, simply go to thebiblesayswhat.com and sign up to be a supporter of the show. Your episodic tithes of $1 or more will get you early access to each episode on Wednesdays instead of Sundays. And no matter which platform you use to listen to your podcast, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on the next episode. Until then, have a great week. Next time on The Bible Says What?
Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, so do you think God will intervene? And I'm like, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. But when we can realize that that's probably not a good idea, is to let the kids wield the gun or have their way for such things. And God knew that the king would be a bad idea because it would cause a lot of death and destruction. But he allowed it anyways. He allowed them to choose death and destruction instead of stepping in and saying, no, I'm your king. That's it. End of story.
True.
I'm God. I know better.